Welcome to your Health Facts podcast. We're diving into a topic that's close to, well, everyone's heart, right? Vegetables. But uh, more specifically, how their benefits and risks can actually change as we get older. We always hear eat your greens,
Yeah,
but turns out it might be a little more complicated than that, especially for seniors.
right. There's this misconception that all vegetables are good for you, no matter what your age. But the truth is, our bodies change as we age, right? Digestion, metabolism, you name it. So some veggies that might be perfectly fine for younger folks can become less suitable or even, potentially a bit risky for seniors. It's always a good idea to chat with your doctor about, the best diet for you. But for now, let's start with spinach. It's a great source of nutrients, sure, but it can also present some issues for older adults, especially when it's raw.
Okay, so what's the issue with raw spinach for seniors?
Well, spinach has these things called oxalates. They're naturally occurring compounds, but they can actually bind to calcium in your digestive system, and for folks with kidney problems, that can increase the risk of kidney stones.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and on top of that, those oxalates can also make it harder for your body to absorb calcium, which is, not good for bone health, especially for those concerned about osteoporosis. And there's another thing, spinach is high in vitamin K, and that can interact with certain blood thinners like warfarin.
So spinach is a no-go for seniors.
Not necessarily. Cooking spinach actually helps a lot. It reduces the oxalate content and makes
Mhm.
it easier to absorb calcium. So, cooked spinach is a much safer, more digestible option.
Okay, good to know. Now, what about sprouts? They're pretty popular these days. Are they safe for seniors?
Hmm, that's a tricky one. You see, sprouts are grown in these warm, humid conditions, right? Which is unfortunately also perfect for bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella to grow. And for seniors, especially those with weaker immune systems, foodborne illness from sprouts can be a real concern.
So if you're going to eat sprouts, make sure they're cooked thoroughly.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for a similar nutritional profile, cooked spinach or kale are safer alternatives.
Got it. So spinach cooked good, sprouts cooked good, raw not so much. Let's talk about corn now.
Okay, so corn. It's a favorite for a lot of people, right? But for seniors, it can be a bit of a mixed bag. Corn has this tough outer layer made of cellulose that can be hard for aging digestive systems to break down, and it also has a fairly high carbohydrate content compared to other vegetables.
And that's not ideal for seniors managing blood sugar, right?
Exactly, especially for those with diabetes or insulin resistance. Now, corn on the cob, that's one thing. But you got to be careful with those processed corn products, the high
Yeah.
fructose corn syrup, cornstarch,
Oh
all
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They often have ochre, sugars, salt, unhealthy fats. It's a recipe for blood sugar spikes and weight gain, which of course can make existing health conditions worse.
So moderation is key with corn, especially for seniors. All right, let's move on to another popular veggie, kale. It's a superfood, right? Loaded with vitamins and minerals.
It is. Kale is packed with good stuff, but there are a couple of things to keep in mind, especially for older adults, like spinach. Raw kale has a lot of those oxalates, which, as we talked about, can be a problem for kidneys and calcium
No,
absorption.
right, right.
And kale also has these things called goitrogens. They can mess with thyroid
Yeah.
function. Yeah, and that's especially important for seniors with thyroid conditions or those taking thyroid medication because goitrogens can disrupt hormone balance.
So is kale off the menu for seniors too?
Not at all. Cooking kale really makes a difference. It significantly reduces both the oxalate content and the goitrogen activity. So cooked kale is a much safer and more suitable option for seniors.
Got it. Cooked kale is a go. All right, what about asparagus?
Asparagus, it's a great source of fiber and vitamins, but it also contains purines, and those break down into uric acid in the body.
And high uric acid levels can lead to gout, right?
That's right. And gout is more common in older adults, especially men. So, moderate asparagus consumption is probably best for seniors. And another thing to consider is that asparagus is a natural diuretic, meaning it can make you pee more, which, for some folks that's fine, but seniors who are already taking diuretic medications or who are prone to dehydration, they need to be extra careful about staying hydrated when they're eating asparagus.
So asparagus in moderation And make sure you're drinking plenty of water.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about mushrooms. They're a little different from the other vegetables we've discussed.
They are. And when it comes to mushrooms and seniors, there are a couple of key things to keep in mind. First of all, wild mushrooms, they can be well, they can be dangerous.
Because some are poisonous, right?
Exactly. And identifying the safe ones from the poisonous ones, that takes real expertise. And for seniors who often have, weaker immune systems or reduced liver function, eating a toxic mushroom can have much more serious consequences.
That makes sense.
Even with cultivated mushrooms, the kind you buy at the supermarket, it's still important to cook them thoroughly. Some varieties contain a compound called hydrazine, which can be harmful. So cooking helps to get rid of that.
Okay. So always pick your mushrooms, whether they're wild or store-bought.
Absolutely. And one more thing about mushrooms, some varieties, especially those taken as supplements, can interact with medications that seniors commonly use. So it's really important to talk to your doctor before adding any medicinal mushrooms to your diet.
Good advice. All right, let's wrap things up with potatoes. They're a staple in so many diets.
They are. But even with something as common as potatoes, there are things to think about, especially for older adults. Potatoes have a high glycemic index, meaning they can cause blood sugar levels to rise quickly.
Which is a concern for anyone managing diabetes, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And then you've got those fried potatoes, French fries, potato chips, all that. They're loaded with trans fats, sodium, and this potentially carcinogenic compound called acrylamide, which forms during high heat cooking.
So not the healthiest choice, especially for seniors.
Right. But, you don't have to give up potatoes entirely. Baking or boiling them are much healthier cooking methods. And of course, moderation is always key.
Great advice. So healthy cooking methods in moderation with potatoes. All right, what about peas? They're considered a healthy vegetable, right?
They are. Peas are a good source of fiber and protein,
Hmm.
but like asparagus, they also contain those purines, which can contribute to high uric acid levels and gout. And peas also have a higher carbohydrate content than some other vegetables.
So portion control is important, especially for seniors who are watching their blood sugar.
Exactly. It's all about balance.
So-
Mixing peas with other non-starchy vegetables can help to manage portion sizes and make sure you're getting a variety of nutrients. We talk about eating our veggies, but it's not always, one size fits all, especially as we get older. What might be a healthy choice for a younger person might need some tweaking for seniors.
Right.
Like raw spinach, for example, great source of nutrients, but can be a bit tricky for older adults, mainly because of those oxalates.
Right, those compounds that can interfere with calcium absorption and potentially lead to kidney stones.
Exactly. And cooking spinach really makes a difference there. Significantly reduces the risks.
Okay, so cooked spinach is a better bet for seniors. What about sprouts? They're considered pretty healthy, right?
They are, generally speaking, but sprouts can be a little bit risky for seniors, especially those with, compromised immune systems.
Because of the risk of foodborne illness, right?
Yeah. Right. The way they're grown, warm, humid conditions. It's also the perfect breeding ground for bacteria. And thorough cooking is absolutely essential. But, there are other options.
Like cooked spinach or kale you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Similar nutritional benefits, but much lower risk.
Okay, good to know. Now, what about corn? It's a pretty common vegetable. What are the considerations there for older adults?
Well, corn can be a bit tough on the digestive system. It's got that tough outer layer, the cellulose. And for aging digestive systems, that can be hard to break down.
I see.
And then there's the carbohydrate content. Corn's got a fairly high carbohydrate content compared to some other veggies.
Right, and that's something to be mindful of, especially for seniors who are managing blood sugar levels.
Absolutely, especially those with diabetes or insulin resistance. And corn on the cob is one thing, but those processed corn products, high fructose corn syrup, cornstarch, all that, they're often loaded with added sugars, salt, unhealthy fats. Not a great choice, especially for seniors.
All right, so corn in moderation, and watch out for those processed corn products.
Yeah.
Let's talk about kale now. It's often touted as a superfood.
It is. Kale is really packed with nutrients, but like spinach, raw kale has a high oxalate content.
Right, which we talked about earlier, can be a concern for kidneys and calcium absorption.
Exactly. And kale also contains these compounds called goitrogens, and those can interfere with thyroid function.
Oh.
Yeah, which is particularly important for seniors who might have existing thyroid conditions or be taking thyroid medications.
Because those goitrogens could disrupt hormone balance.
Right. But cooking kale, it really makes a difference. Significantly reduces both the oxalates and the goitrogen activity.
So cooked kale is a better option for seniors than raw kale.
Much better.
Got it. All right, what about asparagus?
Asparagus, it's a wonderful source of fiber and vitamins, but it also contains purines.
Which can lead to gout, right?
That's right. Purines break down into uric acid, and high levels of uric acid can cause gout. And seniors, they're more susceptible to gout, especially men. So asparagus in moderation is probably best.
Okay, so asparagus in moderation. Anything else to keep in mind with asparagus?
Well, it's also a natural diuretic, so it can increase urine production,
Oh, I see.
which can be fine for some folks. But seniors who are maybe taking diuretic medications or who are already prone to dehydration, they need to be careful about staying hydrated if they're eating asparagus.
Good point. So asparagus in moderation and make sure to drink plenty of fluids. All right, mushrooms. They're kind of in a category of their own, aren't they?
They are, and with mushrooms, there are a couple of things to be especially aware of when it comes to seniors. Wild mushrooms, for example.
Because of the risk of poisoning, right?
Exactly. There are a lot of poisonous mushrooms out there, and it takes real expertise to tell the safe ones from the dangerous ones. And for seniors who often have compromised immune systems or reduced liver function, the consequences of eating a poisonous mushroom can be much more severe.
Right.
Now, even with cultivated mushrooms, the kind you buy at the store, it's still important to cook them thoroughly.
Okay.
Some varieties contain a compound called hydrazine, which can be harmful, and cooking helps to break that down.
So whether they're wild or store-bought, always cook your mushrooms.
Absolutely. And one more thing about mushrooms. Some varieties, especially those that are, taken as supplements, can interact with certain medications that seniors commonly use.
Oh, interesting.
So it's really, really important to talk to your doctor before adding any kind of medicinal mushroom to your diet.
Good advice. All right, let's finish up with potatoes. They're a staple in so many diets. What are the key things for seniors to keep in mind?
Well, potatoes have a high glycemic index,
All right.
which means they can cause blood sugar levels to spike pretty quickly.
And that's obviously a concern for anyone with
Yeah.
diabetes.
And exactly. And then you've got, the fried potatoes, French fries, potato chips. They're loaded with trans fats, sodium, and they also contain a potentially carcinogenic compound called acrylamide, which forms during high heat cooking.
So not the healthiest choice,
Yeah.
especially for seniors.
Right. But, you don't have to give up potatoes entirely. Baking them, boiling them, those are much healthier options.
Right.
And of course, moderation is always key.
So healthy cooking methods in moderation. Got it. All right, last one. Peas. They're generally considered a healthy vegetable, right?
They are good source of fiber, protein, but they also contain those purines like asparagus, which can contribute to high uric acid levels and potentially gout. And peas also have a higher carbohydrate content than some other veggies.
Okay.
So portion control is important,
Yeah.
especially for seniors who are watching their blood sugar.
So mix those peas with other non-starchy vegetables.
Exactly, it's all about balance.
So as we wrap up our look at vegetables and how they can affect seniors differently, it really seems like the key takeaway here is balance, right?
Absolutely. As we age, it's important to adapt our diets to meet our changing needs.
And to be mindful of the potential risks as well as the benefits of different foods.
Right. And that's where, staying informed comes in.
Yeah. Keeping up with the latest research, talking to your doctor, all that good stuff.
Exactly, because the world of nutrition, it's constantly evolving.
It is. Well, this has been incredibly informative.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
And for our listeners, if you're interested in learning more about healthy aging and nutrition, you can visit yourhealthfacts.com. Lots of great information there.
And be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest updates.
That's right. Thanks again for listening, everyone. And until next time, stay healthy.